Welcome to another Business Spotlight. My name is Kerry James. I'm a business coach and a facilitator. And on Business Spotlights, we share reflections, advice, tips, and pearls of wisdom from local business owners. And on today's Business Spotlight, we have founder and director of Flowerap, Arpana Hathi. Good afternoon and big welcome to you. Great to have you on Business Spotlight, Arpana.
Good afternoon. Great to be here.
So Flowerap. An intriguing name. Please tell us a little bit about the history of the business, how long you've been in business, and what you specialize in, please.
Sure. So it's Flowerap, and it's literally says what it does what it says. It's about wrapping flowers in sustainable packaging, hence Flowerap. The idea actually came to me back in 2016. Quite a few years back. I actually have another events business as well. So I didn't really need this business, but I was just a bit like, you go into supermarkets and I buy a bunch of flowers, which I did frequently. And I used to have this horrible triangle plastic bag. And I was just like, God, there has to be something nicer than this to package your bag. So we started to design some sustainable flat pack packaging, gift packaging. And the idea was that where you have supermarkets, you have your lovely range of flowers, they'd almost be like you'd have a stack of cards or gift bags. They'd just be hung there. So they've got ribbons on them and you just hang them, and the buyer would go and say birthday flowers, and one of our boxes says happy birthday, there's a happy anniversary, there's sympathy. So all these designs, and you'll just pick one, pop your flowers in, go to the till, and not only is it a really nice bag to carry it in, but it becomes a really nice piece of sustainable gift packaging, so that when you do hand it over to whoever you're going to give it to, it's presented in a really nice way. And we kind of compare it to the bottle bag. So you go to a party, you go to wherever, you always typically put a bottle in a bottle bag. And people often say to me, yeah, but you know what? Your boxes are quite tall and people can't see the flowers. And I say, well, think of it as a bottle bag. You know it's flowers, but you only get the glory when you take them out. And you always take flowers out because you put them in a vase. So it's like a bottle bag. You kind of look in, you go, yeah, I've got a bottle. But actually, it's only when you take it out that you go, wow. So I kind of overcame that, I think. But yeah, I think the essence of the idea was simply that there's just no decent packaging when you go browse, typically at a supermarket. And that was the idea.
And what is it made of then, Arpana, to comply with the environmental criteria you referred to?
Yeah, so I know I probably should know this and should reel off the top of my the tip of my tongue, but we work with manufacturers in Kendal who are experts in this packaging, and the criteria was that we don't just want, well, two things. We don't want you to get recyclable cardboard or paper from across the world, because so we didn't want it to come from millions and millions of miles away on crates, because actually that kind of defeats the object. So we were really smart about, it has to be kind of at least within Europe, if not the UK. So they actually work with a farm in Norway, and they are completely sustainable. Admittedly, I haven't visited it, but I have seen videos of it, and they're very, very credible. So all the paper comes from there, and it's all craft paper that's not coloured. It's completely natural. The farm itself is sustainable, to the point where we had to do some reordering of our sort of non-coloured craft boxes. We actually haven't been able to get our hands on any, because the farm says at the moment we can't get you any, because the trees, whatever we've had to fell, etc., we've hit our limit. So you just have to wait. That's it. And I'm actually okay with that, because that's the whole point, isn't it? I don't want to be a business where I expect everything at my beck and call. I have to work with nature and I have to respect nature. And what's that meant is we've had to actually, decline many orders, particularly Mother's Day had come, we'd had to decline them. And what we found is that people, when we gave our story and the reason, people said, well, that's fine, we'll take some of your other ones that you've got in stock. And not everybody, in fairness, some people did say, sorry, I only wanted the plain ones. It's like, well, we don't have them for this reason. That's okay. And I think we're trying to change the mindset of our buyers to say, can't have everything at your beck and call, because if nature can't provide it, we don't want to attack it
And
just to
so,
get.
so who are your buyers in Arpana? Is it some element of online direct to customers, or is it through different channels?
Yeah, so typically it's online. So we sell via a site called Fair Wholesale. They are global, but they are prominent in America. And so majority of our orders right now come from America, which we are delighted about, but we're also a little bit sad about because for us, we're clocking up our 1,000+ florists that exist in the UK. We're
Arpana,
just
sorry to interrupt. That we lost you. You froze there for about 30 seconds.
That's okay. That's
So
okay.
if you maybe want to repeat that point, then we'll be able to edit that back in.
Sure. So currently, all our sales are online. We sell through a site called Fair Wholesale, who are dominant in America. So the majority of our sales come from the USA. And that's great because we're selling our products, but it also saddens us because we know we're clocking up the carbon footprint miles. Um, and our dream is to sell here to the 9,500 florists in the UK, because of course that's really going to help the green agenda. But we just haven't broken that market yet.
Okay. Okay. And we're living in interesting, very changeable times, Arpana. I'm just wondering how the digital revolution, the lockdown, interest rates, inflation rates, how has that all impacted on your industry and your business, would you say?
Yeah, so we're very lucky because when we actually did a soft launch in 2020, um, we ordered quite a lot of product. So we hold a lot of stock, which has meant that we're holding on to the prices from back in 2020. So we're just lucky that we were brave enough to do that. And so our prices have not risen at all in the last 2 years or year because we've not had to. We're still honoring our original price, and we are not. We genuinely don't. We could increase them because we could kind of say inflation has gone up, but we don't want to because for us it hasn't. So our price point is still the same. So it hasn't affected us yet, but maybe in a couple of years, if we go to round two, then we may have to consider the pricing.
Okay. So what would you say the main challenges are? You mentioned finding UK based or closer florists, etc. What other challenges would you say the business has today?
So I'd say our biggest challenge is changing florists' mindset to actually persuade them to try our product and give it a go. Just give it a go. And it's really hard because I've never been in the horticultural business in my historical sort of business life. And I learned so much about it. And florists are, I'm not going to say set in their ways because I don't think they are. I think they're actually quite, broad minded people and they really want to embrace new trends. But I think they do have products that they design and their customers are happy. And like anybody, why would you bring change in if you don't need it? If your designs are working, they're selling, then why would you take the risk? And so I think that's one of our biggest challenges. And it's fair to say that because our product is made of conscientious paper, it is a little bit more expensive in terms of price point. So, most florists or a lot of florists buy their product from China. It's pennies because they're buying in quantity, but a lot of it is full of plastic, right? Whereas ours is manufactured here, it's manufactured with responsible paper. And of course, that's what pushes the price up a little bit. So we're not competitive on price always, but we do have a different offering. Our offer is completely different to what's on the market. It's unique.
And so, what about aspirations for the business? Where do you see the business in 3 to 5 years' time in terms of size and shape, would you say?
Yeah, like any new business owner, I mean, wouldn't it be amazing to have a business that is bringing you a really decent income? You've got your regular customers, you've got relationships, and actually you're able to then develop new products, new designs. But the first stage is, of course, to establish that business, and we haven't established ourselves in the UK, and that is my dream. And my dream is, I always say 9,000 florists. Surely we can get 1,000 on board who will regularly buy our products, and that's really all we need. And trust me, we've done the whole door to door, we've done the marketing, it's just so hard to break. Yeah, so that's the dream, is to get 1,000 UK customers or so just buying into us regularly, so that we can have a really nice business where we can employ people as well, and actually have a business where we're employing but also helping the planet, and helping florists come up with new ideas and new designs.
So you've obviously been involved in other businesses than Arpana. What lessons would you say you've learned as a business owner, and what advice might you give to a new business owner who'd be starting a business today?
So I primarily have two businesses. My other business is much more service led. I would say it's about me. It's the service me and my team provide to my clients. So it's a different beast to taking a product to market, right? Because a product is a very different beast. So I can't really compare the two, but I will focus on sort of advice for Flowerap. When you're designing a product, honestly, you genuinely think it's perfect and you think the world is going to buy it, because all you can see is all the advantages of it, and you almost say to yourself, well, why wouldn't people buy it? Why wouldn't they buy it? And actually, what you've got to remember is there are so many reasons why people buy it. And more often than not, it's not because they don't like your product, they actually love it, but they've got things going in their own business. So it could be that, I mean, I've had people say, oh, I'm so sorry, but I've literally just placed an order for 10,000 boxes from China. That's going to see me through the next 5 years. Okay, what do you do? And yes, I, of course, leave samples and say, try a few. They've got a stockroom full of all these boxes and they just don't want any more. And I get that. There are others who might sort of say, well, do you know what? We're a really small business. I work from a studio. I don't even have space to store my own, what I have now, because I literally work out of the studio. So I tend to buy my stuff very locally, etc. That's another reason. Management change. There's so many reasons. So often it's not because they don't like your product, but there's just barriers within the business that sometimes are legitimate, sometimes not. And of course, the other one is change, right? People are always very reluctant to bring change into their business. And even if that's just simple flower boxes that they're going to have to try and sell to their customers, that's just hard work, isn't it? It's almost like, I'm going to try something new. What happens if it doesn't work? So, by the way, we don't work on a sale or return basis. I'd like to think we're really confident that people like them, but actually it is all about that carbon footprint. We don't want to keep toing and froing couriers, sending back. We really want to kind of almost revolutionize how we do business and think about that carbon footprint at every level. So we do have a no return policy, but we do have a minimum order of, you can order as little as 10, you can order as many as 1,000. So we do give that real flexibility to our buyers, so that for small businesses, their money's not tied in. But, for large businesses, of course, if they buy 1,000, we'll give them a discount. So there's an advantage on both sides.
So is it just florists that you're looking to engage with, or are there other types of partners you'd be interested in discussing your business with, Arpana?
Yeah, well, I started off by saying the idea was supermarkets, right? I myself went in and thought, why is there not packaging? So, originally it was, we'll tap into supermarkets and see if we can get into one who would then constantly buy them, and it would just become part of their offering. But one, honestly speaking, we all know it's so difficult to get into supermarkets, and two, they have a lot of conditions that you have to adhere to. And I think this is born from my other business, where I'm all about relationships and I really like to give a personal service. Hence, I'm going to allow you to give my own personal email out after this, because I really want to service my customers properly. And I felt like when I did sort of read about supermarkets, and I did do a lot of work around it, I felt like we were just going to be another little supplier in their massive portfolio. And, I didn't want to be owned by them to a degree. And I think that's what would happen. And I also felt like supermarkets already are established. I wanted to help. And my thinking was, in the end, I want to help the small florist on the high street that often really struggles because of the supermarket. And so we changed our marketing, we changed our thinking. And actually now that's what we want to do. We want to work with small florists, give them the advantage of having something new and different to pull the customer away from the supermarket and go, do you know what? I can get a really nice bunch of flowers for £15 and I get a bit of packaging for £2. Why would I need to go to the supermarket? And actually try and help them evolve the customer from going to the supermarket for a bunch of flowers to coming to them.
Very good. Okay, well, it's been Fascinating to hear where you are with your journey and the opportunities and the potential future there. So, if there are any florists or maybe people who know florists watching Business Spotlight, what might be a next step if they're interested in having a conversation about it?
Yeah, so absolutely. My email is arpana@flowerap.co.uk. It's dead easy. I know you're going to put it up as well for me, Kerry, but we have a website. You can go to that. But ideally, as I said, I'm all about relationships. And because our product is new, I would love to just to drop me an email. And I promise you, I will be in touch straight away. And I'd love to just have a chat with you, talk to you about our product, and just help you understand our proposition.
Lovely. All right, then, Arpana, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you ever so much for your time and your contribution, and all the very best with Flowerap.
Thank you. And thanks for giving me the space.
You're welcome.